Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, John and Lee
and Harry
proudly present the greatest wrestling show ever!
Okay, hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of the greatest wrestling show ever. Previously with John and Lee, but tonight we've got a special guest. We've got Lee's second son, third child overall, Harry. Good evening, Harry.
Hello.
Harry is an expert in WWE. He's probably going to put us to shame with his superior knowledge, particularly of the modern product. So hopefully add some excellent value into what we've got tonight. Tonight's match is the Women's Elimination Chamber from the Elimination Chamber 2019 pay-per-view. We're going to get it started straight away because the match lasts 33 minutes. So if anyone is watching this along at home, you want Elimination Chamber 2019 pay-per-view. It's the first match of the show, so when you click on that match, it takes you to 3 minutes, 17 seconds into the show as a whole. You'll have an image of the about-to-be crowned women's tag titles on a red velvet display. So we'll get straight into it. 3, 2, 1, and play. They're nice-looking belts, aren't they? Have you messed up play already, Lee? He can't press play. He's going to be behind. Is it working?
I'm on. I'm a few seconds behind you.
Okay. I'll pause for 2 seconds. You can catch up. Okay, hopefully we're about level now. Yeah. So that's the new version of the Elimination Chamber. The first chamber that came out in 2002 looked a bit different. What are your boys' thoughts on that chamber? Do you like the look of it?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It's fine to
experience of Elimination Chambers.
It's a bit squarer. I'm perhaps less keen on the slightly rounder original chamber, but it's all right, yeah. So we've got a graphic up on the screen now that explains the rules of Elimination Chamber, which has now gone off, but basically 2 teams are going to start in there, so 4 of them in at the same time. Is it 5 minutes? A new chamber opens and a new team comes out, is that right?
That's what it was, yeah. How many seconds did I jump forward and I press forward?
10.
So at the moment, Carmella's coming out. She's got quite a colourful outfit on there. And who's her partner, Carmella? Is it Naomi? Is that right? It's going to come out with their Day Glow trainers on.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Naomi's married to one of the Usos. Isn't that right, Harry?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Harry's an expert on the Usos. He can tell the difference between...
Pick one of my fun facts there, John.
Go on then. That was your fun fact, was it?
That was one of my fun facts for Naomi, yeah.
Oh, my apologies. I'm sorry. I tried to trick Harry recently. Lee was telling me that Harry can tell the difference between the Usos, and I disputed it. So I sent 2 different pictures of whichever Uso it was, the same one, Jimmy apparently, and said, can Harry tell which is which? And he correctly said that they were both Jimmy.
Try and catch him out, yeah. I'm pretty confident I could now, actually, because obviously Jay's has been featuring quite heavily recently with his feud with Roman Reigns. I'm pretty confident I could tell them apart now. I think Jimmy's gone a bit chunkier, hasn't he?
Yeah, Jimmy's always been chunkier. They both used to be really fat.
Fat or
chunky.
Yeah.
Chunkier, but yeah, no.
To be fair, I have spent approximately 0 time and effort in making any sort of effort to work out the difference between them. So maybe it is a bit more obvious than I realised. But their own father, Rikishi, can't tell the difference, or at least couldn't do when they were 18 years old.
That shows what a good daddy is, isn't it, I suppose?
I mean, they looked absolutely gutted, didn't they, on that? What
they looked devastated.
What documentary was that? It was a WWE documentary. Was it about the feud between...
Yeah, I think it was... I didn't watch the full documentary. It was kind of like the build-up, wasn't it? And then it was it was about...
They were cousins and known each other all their lives, and they showed Rikishi pointing to his 2 boys and saying he couldn't tell which one was which, and they looked like they were about to cry, bless them. So we've got Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan here. Now I might be stealing your fun fact here, Lee, but I believe these 2 and Ruby Riott have the date of their main roster debut tattooed on their arms somewhere. Is that right?
That's not a fact of mine, so go ahead.
Yeah, when they first made their main roster debut, having been developmental together and become good friends, they had that date tattooed on there. Now, that's something that I find a little bit more now I don't know if it's always been the case, but you see it more with these backstage documentaries, or if it's a change to people who became wrestlers in the 80s, perhaps hadn't grown up as fans, whereas people who become wrestlers now did grow up as fans.
Yeah.
If they all just seem really happy to be there, and then that's all they ever wanted, was to become a WWE wrestler. And
that makes sense.
To me, it takes away a little bit of the star factor. Like the Ricochet one recently, he spent the entire thing saying how much a fan he was and how glad he was to be there and all that sort of stuff. And you compare that to, there's a famous interview with Steve Austin from about 20 years ago, where they say to him, "Are you surprised that, you took off so well?" And he went, "No, I'm not surprised in the slightest. I'm just surprised it took people so long to realise I'm the biggest star that's ever been in this industry, and I deserve everything I've got." And to me, that's a superstar talking.
Absolutely.
I told that story to my wife Alex recently. She was talking about how people present themselves at the recent interview that she had at work, and I told her the difference between people that are kind of just happy to be there and that's all they've ever wanted, versus the people that just expect that it's going to happen and they deserve it, and perhaps where that then takes them.
So are the belts vacant here at this point?
I think this is to crown the first ever women's tag champions, or at least the first ones for 30 years.
Okay. So the only thing, so I'm out of touch here, so I don't know, who are heels, who are faces.
Well, the IIconics have always been heels, presumably, haven't they?
Yeah.
I would have thought so. Naomi and who's Naomi's partner? I've forgotten already. Carmella. Presumably they're faces as well, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks that way when they came out.
Oh, yeah.
There was a women's tag title in the 1980s, boys. I don't know if you know this. It was held for about 3 years by the Glamour Girls, which was Judy Martin and Leilani Kay. They lost the tag titles at, I want to say, Royal Rumble 1988, the first ever Royal Rumble. They lost it to the Jumping Bomb Angels, which were a couple of Japanese wrestlers. And then it was dropped back to the Glamour Girls later that year.
Yeah, vaguely remember that.
Yeah. The funny thing that I remember with them as well is at that time that the Glamour Girls were pitched as being really old. I think it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek that they were glamorous. They had a bit of makeup on and they'd done their hair, but the idea that they were glamorous was a little bit of a joke. But looking back in retrospect, they must have been around about 30 years old. Because I remember Leilani Kay faced the Alundra Blaze for the women's title at WrestleMania 10, and I think she was only like mid-30s there, the oldest.
That's 94, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right, here we've got Tamina and Nia Jax. What are your thoughts on these two boys?
They're good-looking pair of women. So I wouldn't want to be.
Well, Nia Jax was actually a professional model,
Yes, she was a plus-size model.
She was, yeah. I'm all right with Nia Jax. Tamina does absolutely nothing for me. She doesn't bring anything to the table as far as I can see.
She's Superfly's daughter, isn't she?
She is, yeah.
Sonya Deville doing it.
She's in the match.
Oh.
Who did you not realise was in the match, Harry?
No, I didn't.
This is Harry who's seen this match as well.
So what, you did not realise someone's in particular is in it?
How memorable it was.
We've got Mandy Rose coming out now. I don't know if you know, boys, that Mandy Rose first appeared on WWE TV. She was in the most recent, it was about 5 years ago now, series of Tough Enough. She was one of the contestants there under her real name, Amanda. And I believe, if I remember correctly, she won that series. And one of the runners-up, who came something like... No, sorry, she came second. She came second to a guy called Josh, who didn't really do much afterwards. But one of the runners-up, who came something like fourth or fifth, went on to become Velveteen Dream.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So what is Tough Enough?
Tough Enough's a reality TV show where wannabe wrestlers go through a series of... It's an elimination style. Each week someone's eliminated until eventually there's a winner, and it's based on a mixture of things, their performance in various challenges. I think it's changed a little bit over the different series as well.
Yeah.
The winner supposedly gets a certain amount of money. There was $1 million Tough Enough, which was the one that Miz was in. I'm not sure how much supposedly they got for the last one. And a WWE contract.
No, I need to watch this show.
It's all right. The early ones were quite interesting. I don't think I've actually seen a whole series all the way through. Interestingly here, Bayley and Sasha Banks are best mates here still, aren't they?
Sad.
Of course, yeah. So, right. So obviously faces here then, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite funny watching this. The night after we've just watched Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. So anyone who's listen to this later on, Hell in a Cell 2020 happened 3 days ago, whatever it was, where Bayley defended the SmackDown Women's title against Sasha in Hell in a Cell. I did flick through it. Supposedly it was a really good match. Is that the case?
Best match of the event, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's really good. In fact, I'd say the three cell matches were all decent. Yeah. What was the first one?
Jay versus
Jay and Roman, of course. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Thingy,
do you know Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville?
Yeah.
Sonya Deville's in WWE anymore because she lost the match.
Yes, of course, to Mandy Rose, didn't she?
Well, do you know the backstory behind that?
I think.
We saw. What do you mean the storyline build up, or
No, the real thing that happened in real life?
No.
So about a week before, was it SummerSlam where that match happened? Is that right?
Yes.
About a week before SummerSlam, and this is all legit in real life. Sonya Deville was at her home. Coincidentally, Mandy Rose was there because they're best mates in real life, and they heard a noise or came downstairs in the middle of the night. And a real crazy man had broken into the house with duct tape and wires and stuff like that because he wanted to kidnap Sonya Deville. And they both ran, and he thought they'd ran upstairs, so it was taking his time because he thought they were trapped there, but actually they'd run out some sort of side door and escaped in the car. So he was still there when the police then arrived and arrested him. And this happened about a week before SummerSlam, which was why they then changed it to a retirement match to then give Sonya Deville some much-needed time off to deal with, I think, both the personal fallout from that and having to go through the court case and everything related to it.
My God.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't heard at all.
No, proper crazy man. They found out afterwards he'd been sending her DMs on Instagram, but because of her settings on her account, she hadn't received them because she's obviously a public figure. And he sent her hundreds and hundreds of DMs that started off being a fan and progressively turned more and more aggressive and weird as he didn't get a response.
Crikey.
Yeah, crikey indeed. It's one of those things you start reading it and you're like, oh wow, crikey, that's not good. A bit of quality teamwork there from Bayley and Sasha Banks as Bayley held Sasha's hand. She went up the top rope, dived onto the outside where Mandy and Sonya were.
We need some fun facts here.
Yeah, lighting the mood a little bit after that. So that's taken the whole thing down a little bit, hasn't it?
Bayley has a pogo stick obsession and collection.
Really?
I knew she liked pogo sticks.
Yeah,
I watched like WWE backstage things.
But no matter how much I searched, I couldn't find how many pogo sticks she had. But it made me think of your walking stick collection, John.
Well, I was about to say, that'll give us something to chat about. If ever we meet up, I can say, I've got a walking stick collection.
There you go.
And we can sort of compare. Yeah.
Why do you want a walking stick collection?
Who else is there? I mean, Sasha. It's not necessarily fun fact, it's well known, but for those who don't know, Sasha Banks is Snoop Dogg's cousin. Right,
yeah.
This is my fun fact.
Well, you already knew.
That's why she's referred to as the boss, isn't she? That's the Snoop Dogg connection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my assumption is, I think I remember correctly that Sasha and Bayley win this one, don't they?
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
And I think, my main reason I remember that is because Sasha was smiling when she came out. You can always tell when Sasha Banks is losing because she looks miserable when she comes out.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before. I do know.
She's not got a poker face.
And the WrestleMania after this, they defended them and lost them to the IIconics.
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, she came out with a face of thunder on. You could tell it was about to happen.
That's excellent.
So to give you a little bit of backstory to this match, as always quoted directly from Wikipedia, On December the 24th, 2018 episode of Raw, WWE Chairman Vince McMahon announced that a new WWE Women's Tag Team Championship would be introduced in 2019. On the January 14th episode of Raw, on her segment A Moment of Bliss, Alexa Bliss unveiled the championship belt and revealed the inaugural champions will be determined at Elimination Chamber in a tag team Elimination Chamber match featuring 3 teams from Raw and SmackDown each, making the championship non-exclusive to either brand. Of course, yeah, there's 6 teams here, isn't there? Yeah, there's 4 in the pods at the moment and the 2 that are already out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So qualification matches determining the 3 teams from Raw took place on the January 28th and February the 4th episodes of Raw. The team of Nia Jax and Tamina, the Riott Squad, represented by Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, and the Boss and Hug Connection, Bayley and Sasha Banks, each qualified by defeating the teams of Bliss and Mickie James, Natalya and Dana Brooke, Fox and Nikki Cross, respectively. Now, I missed that. That looked quite exciting. Out of the corner of my eye, there was a bit of a flourish there, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so was it Liv Morgan was trapped in the...
Mandy Rose.
Sorry, Mandy Rose was trapped in the bars at the side there. And Bayley came behind and did what?
A net breaker.
A net breaker.
You've got to watch him, Harry. Make sure he gets the names right, Harry. You'll get more.
No, I'm terrible. I'm terrible with the names of the moves.
Well, I meant more the people, but yeah, that too. Right, so we've got the Riott Squad. So Liv Morgan is in now. So Liv Morgan, although she does look slightly similar to Mandy Rose, she's got pinker hair. It's quite a bit smaller.
She's got blue tongue.
Say again.
She's
got a blue tongue. Yeah, I was reading about this, and apparently it was an accident. But I didn't. But I chose instead to write the fact about the fact that she has a pet pig.
Go on then. I mean, well, I think we need to explore both those things. But tell us about the pet pig first.
She has a pet pig.
Okay, right. Wow. I thought there might be more to it than that.
And he's called Piggles.
That makes sense. Piggles is a good name.
And Sarah Logan is married to Viking Raider Eric.
Yeah,
I did see they got married like a year or 2 ago, and I saw the pictures on social media from both. Those sort of
I'm looking at her now because I don't really know her, but the makeup sort of reminds me of the Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
So is Liv Morgan's tongue actually blue, like in real life, always?
Yeah.
I just assumed that she'd just put something on it for a match, for a laugh.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it for you.
What on earth could happen to make your tongue blue?
M&M's.
Yeah, too many M&M's, clearly.
Keep talking amongst yourselves.
And Sarah Logan, my first time I noticed Sarah Logan when she appeared in the Mae Young Classic a few years ago. And I think possibly Liv Morgan may have done as well. I can't quite remember now. So anyway, that was the qualification for the match. Due to its smaller roster, no qualification matches were held for SmackDown, and instead the teams of Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, the IIconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, and Naomi and Carmella all announced their participation.
The blue tongue is the gimmick.
I couldn't really imagine
first time, what I read was the first time was an accident where she'd been eating some candy. She got a bollocking for it off the executives, but then they decided to keep it in as a gimmick. So every time now before a match, she'll chew on some blue candy.
You see?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Just rewinding back there to the SmackDown 3 teams announcing their participation. I always wonder with that, you know, when someone comes out saying announces their participation in the Royal Rumble or what have you, why doesn't everyone just do that? Why don't like the jobbers just come out and go, yeah, I'm in the Royal Rumble? Or like when someone's making a save. So I always thought this as a kid, like, I don't know, Hogan would be in trouble and then someone would come out to save him. I'm like, if I was in the back, I'd just run out and try and save him because I'd get some exposure, I'd get a bit of a rub from the Hulkster.
Yeah.
Why don't you all do it?
No, it's a good point.
Tower of Doom.
Watch
So
this.
superplex on Bayley, by Mandy and Sonya, and a powerbomb onto all of them from, I've lost track of who did that. Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, I think it was.
Oh no, that was so good.
Where's
Where's
Sasha?
Sasha at the moment?
Sasha's dead.
She's dead.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a turn up for the books.
She's in
Right.
that pod.
Next team's coming in. Who's it going to be?
She's actually dead.
It's the IIconics.
Oh,
I quite like the IIconics. Billie Kay particularly makes me laugh. She's funny, isn't she?
Billie Kay and Peyton Royce grew up together. Did you know that?
Right.
Because they're Australian, aren't they? They went to high school together and then got into wrestling together.
It's best of very annoying voices.
Do you know who the most successful school class ever for wrestlers is?
No.
What do you mean, school class?
I think it's something like Minnesota High School class of, I don't know, whatever it is, 1976. I'm just going to find it now. There's about 5, 6 famous wrestlers happen to be in the same class at school.
As in just a standard high school?
Yeah. Right, here we go. So it's Robbinsdale. Oh, hello. How do I actually get on it? Right, here we go. When Robbinsdale ruled the wrestling world, the Hart Dungeon, the WCW Power Plant, the West Texas State football team, there are numerous hotbeds of professional wrestling talent and success around North America. But one of the unlikeliest catalysts gave rise to perhaps the most impressive list of professional wrestlers to ever come out of one area. So, all from 3 school years from Robbinsdale High School, we have Kurt, Mr. Perfect Hennig, Ravishing Rick Rude, Tom Zenk, you remember him?
No.
He was in WCW in the early 90s. He was in a team with Tito Santana in the mid 80s as well.
Yes, I think I know him.
Battle Cat Peters, yeah. The Berserker, John Nord. He feuded with Berserker in 1992. Nikita Koloff.
Yeah.
And Barry Dorso, who was Demolition Smash and the Repo Man.
Yes.
So all 6 or 7 of those were from the same school over a 3-year period. I think, if I remember correctly, Mr. Perfect and Rick Rude were mates in the same class, if I remember correctly.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Pretty into it. That's like you, what school did you go to in Mac again?
Embry.
Yeah, imagine if, like, just coincidentally 7 of you from the 3-year period had made it to WWE.
And there was nothing particular going on at that school with, a direct feed into wrestling or a decent wrestling team or
I don't believe so. I mean, I think all high schools in America have wrestling teams. And who'd have thought it?
That's a great fat job.
Well, hey, I like that one, don't you? It's good, that.
Not connected to this match, of course, but...
Well, no. To be honest, I think with most of the matches, if we were limited to just talking about stuff that was happening in the match...
we'd struggle.
Yeah, we would really struggle. We struggle the best of times, to be honest, anyway. I wouldn't actually be a commentator. I haven't been able to continuously talk all the way through a 3 or potentially 8-hour pay-per-view like WrestleMania. It must be hard.
Yeah. Harry was asking me about this yesterday. He was asking me if they pre-prepare what they're going to say. So I say no. I said it's all off the bat. They'll have notes.
Yeah, they'll definitely have notes.
Much like we do, but like any commentator, they'll have notes. But apart from that, their job is just to keep talking. And
chances are, as a paid professional,
what's happening.
Yeah, but the thing is, whenever they get close to the table, I see like a pack of M&Ms and stuff. Like, it's nothing. Like,
just snacks and keep
going.
What's
a so-called pizza?
Maybe the M&Ms are for Liv Morgan and Taste of Tongue loses its colour.
But of course, doing the pre-show as well, aren't they?
Oh yeah, the pre-show is long. Like an hour. So.
I would assume though, as professionals, they probably put a little bit more prep into it than we do this. To be honest.
Do you reckon?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I generally go on Wikipedia about 10 minutes before we go on.
That's what I do today. I spent a good 6-7 minutes researching these facts tonight.
To be honest, listening to Corey Graves sometimes, I don't think he spends that long.
No.
That's harsh, actually. I quite like Corey Graves. I like him more than some of the others.
I do. I've got nothing against him, but I think I've said this to you before. I do think we are missing a really good colour commentator. He doesn't. He's not. I used to like, the types of Jesse Ventura and Jerry Lawler when he was a bit more colourful, and Jesse Ventura.
Oh.
And there's less in the way of distinguishing voices now. Like I don't know if in 30 years' time, if Harry will fondly remember any of the commentators we've got now. I might be wrong.
No, exactly. Yeah, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan were.
Gorilla, yeah.
then, of course, Jim Ross. He was
I bet
amazing
Nia
for a long time, wasn't he?
Oh, goodness.
Do you know anything about Corey Graves' past at all?
Used to be a wrestler.
He did, yeah. He wrestled with Sterling James Keenan. He's obviously American, but he made his name randomly in Doncaster in England. So in the mid-noughties, from about 2005 to 2000, I think it was maybe like 8 or so, there was a promotion called 1PW that promoted only super shows, so large budget, large scale shows, generally the Doncaster Dome. And he was a relatively early success there in that he wasn't particularly well known before becoming part of that. And that's where he first made his name.
Wow.
Doncaster.
So was he ever a big star of WWE?
Say again, sorry?
Was he ever a big star of WWE?
No, he signed for developmental. He was in, I don't know if it was still Florida Championship Wrestling then or if it was the early days of NXT. And then he had, I think it was a series of concussions, which forced him to retire. And he got into commentating. Bit like Nigel McGuinness, same sort of deal as that, to be honest.
And of course, isn't he Carmella as well?
Yeah. Wasn't there something about his wife's posted something on social media about finding out about those two?
Yeah.
I thought Archer's was.
Archer's? No, I think that was
Gimmick.
Oh, right. Well, that's so right.
Is everybody in the ring now?
I think so, yeah. We should probably talk about the match, actually. At the moment, Naomi... Oh, the split-leg moonsault from Naomi. Nice.
Oh, Nia Jackson and Tamina aren't in yet.
Yeah, of course not, yeah. First
yeah, Naomi, like you say, is married to Jimmy Uso, and she used to be a backup dancer for Flow Rider.
I think I did know that, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, good stuff.
And Carmella's dad was a jobber in the 90s called Paul Van Dale.
Right, okay. In WWE, was that? I don't particularly remember the name.
Yeah, he called Razor Ramon and some others.
Okay.
When I was a kid, it was only in my adult life that I learned the term jobber.
Okay.
When I was a teenager, we used to call them challengers.
Challengers?
But when I was, say, Harry's age, we used to call them little man.
Was that...
It was an open fight last night. Oh, it's just a little man.
Makes sense. I suppose if you've not heard the term otherwise, yeah, what else would you call them?
Yeah.
Enhancement talent, I think they're called nowadays.
Enhancement talent, yeah. That's like domestic supervisor for a cleaner, isn't it?
Yeah, makes you feel a little bit better about it.
Oh, so everybody's on the floor and I don't know why.
They're just tired. They've had a long day.
Just having a nap.
So on the February the 11th and February 12th episodes of Raw and SmackDown, triple threat tag team matches occurred between each brand's 3 respective tag teams to determine which 2 teams would start the Elimination Chamber match. Bayley and Rose were pinned in their respective matches, making Banks and Bayley and Deville and Rose the first entrants in the chamber. Makes sense? The show took place on February the 7th, 2019, my last day of being a 38-year-old. The main event of the show was Daniel Bryan defending the WWE Championship in an Elimination Chamber match against Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe. Was the start of Kofi Mania, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That Daniel Bryan Kofi match was a brilliant match.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania, yeah, definitely.
Ooh.
It's a shame almost that was a title match, because otherwise we could have put that in as well, couldn't we?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Elimination. So the IIconics have just eliminated. Who's her partner?
Naomi and Carmella.
Naomi and Carmella, yeah.
Carmella and Naomi have been eliminated. So there's some sort of, I missed that, like a running knee and then a folding pin there on Carmella. No, not Carmella, Naomi. They're off. They've got matching outfits, actually. I hadn't really noticed that. They're quite smart.
So Tamina and Nia Jackson yet? No, we're still waiting.
Yeah. No offence to Tamina and Nia Jax, but I can't imagine their endurance enables them to do much more than about 7 minutes. So I presume that's part of the reason that they were put in last.
Not fair. Yeah, makes sense.
Might be being harsh, but I think that's probably fair.
There
they come. 10 seconds and they're coming in.
When Naomi was SmackDown Women's Champion, she customized her championship to make it like glow. So when she came in with it, glow.
That's pretty cool.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, like how Bray Wyatt customized his.
Yeah, and Danny Bryan had the
eco-friendly.
eco-friendly one, and yeah.
What's your least favourite customised belt? Is it the John Cena spinner, or have you not seen that?
Yeah. And I didn't like the eco-friendly one either, to be honest.
I think it was.
I'm against the whole concept of customization anyway. But that's just old school. Yeah, the belts are the belts.
I think the eco-friendly one worked well in that it was clear that it was only ever going to be for the duration of his title reign. It was pretty obvious as soon as he lost it, it would go back to the old belt, whereas the John Cena spinner belt carried on even when he wasn't the champion.
Yeah, and the Bray Wyatt blue background, carried on. Still is.
Yeah. And I suppose with Daniel Bryan being a heel at that point, that would be part of the idea, and annoying people by having a custom belt. He worked you, Lee. He worked you big time.
Yeah. Yeah, and his latest idea, Daniel Bryan's latest idea, to have this, what was it, a match for the Intercontinental title every week.
Yeah.
On Raw.
No,
again, I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Why?
But it sounds like it's going to.
Why?
Well, because it's less of a thing then, isn't it? It's weekly.
Oh, yeah. Thing, Bray Wyatt? Do you know when he was weird Bray Wyatt?
Mm-hmm.
Swampy? Yeah. He was once a WWE champion.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, he lost to Randy Orton at WrestleMania about 2017, I think it was. He won it in the Elimination Chamber in 2017 and lost it to Randy a month later.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible match and with a really weird finish. So it's all about, obviously, Bray Wyatt doing mind games on Randy Orton. Oh, double elimination. The IIconics are gone.
There we go.
So at the end of the match, the ring canvas turns into bugs. It's an image projected from above, but it looks like the ring is crawling with giant bugs, which is a bit odd. But then the worst part of that is that Randy then pretty much immediately RKOs and pins Bray Wyatt, which just makes him look like a chump. It's like, well, he's done this a bit odd, a bit random thing, but then it's not worked for him, which, strange.
That's weird. So you've not seen this match?
No.
Oh, shit, I've
seen this match.
Just for that.
Just looking at, I hadn't realised that since 2011, the show, Elimination Chamber, has been promoted as No Escape in Germany, as it was feared the name Elimination Chamber may remind people of the gas chambers used in the Holocaust.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, makes sense. Never really thought of that.
Nia Jax. Hey, John, did you know Nia Jax is part of the Hanoi family?
She's like the Rock's distant cousin or something, isn't she?
She is, yeah. I didn't know that until tonight. I was looking at these facts.
All right, cool. Can you find out what she is? Like 12th cousin, 14 times removed, something like that?
Just a straight cousin.
Right,
you know,
okay.
Face, don't we?
Strange with that cousin situation, because sometimes they're different generations as well, because the Roman Reigns is actually a generation above the Usos, isn't he?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, he's there. Hang on, wait a minute. What would he be? So he's cousins with Rikishi, isn't he? Roman Reigns and Rikishi are cousins. That's right, and they're second cousins, I would make them. How many Elimination Chamber matches do you reckon there've ever been, boys?
Matches?
9.
Matches or events?
Matches.
No,
What is it? How long has it been? 10 years, roughly?
16.
What's your prediction, Lee? How many do you reckon?
I'm going to go for 54.
26. So Harry was closest there. The first one happened at Survivor Series 2002 as Triple H defended against Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and the returning Shawn Michaels, who beat him for the World Heavyweight title. Then you got one the following SummerSlam, Triple H defending again. In there was Goldberg, along with others, and it was a match where everyone assumed that Goldberg was going to win the title. until, I think if I remember correctly, Randy Orton slipped Triple H the sledgehammer, and as Goldberg went to spear him, he headbutted the sledgehammer and got pinned, which I don't think went down very well with the crowd, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, in a Elimination Chamber match with Goldberg, he speared one of his opponents, I think it was Chris Jericho, through the pod.
Oh, straight through the pod.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I remember
And
that.
then Otis got knocked out of it.
Yeah, I Otis got knocked straight through. Yeah, we weren't sure if that was a gimmick or not. Was that this year's Elimination Chamber?
Oh my goodness, there, diving crossbodies off the top. So that was Liv Morgan and presumably Sarah Logan, diving off the top of one of the chambers. Dragging back in.
Yep.
Kick out. I thought I was in elimination for a second there.
And I think it's in an Elimination Chamber tag team one. Wait, is it? I think it's tag team one. I think Kalisto climbed to the top of it and drops down.
Yes, he did a variation on
amazing
star press, didn't he? He swung back and forth until he went all the way over and then dropped down face first onto the people below, didn't he?
And John Morrison has done something similar onto Sheamus.
So I'll find it for you, Harry. So the match with Kalisto was the 18th one.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
So Tamina's going up for the one and only move she can do, the Superfly Splash.
Oh.
Here she goes. To be fair, she does do it reasonably well. I'll give her that. Right, but that's not so good.
No, that's very rubbish. Oh, double pin. In terms of recreating moves similar to Superfly, what's his name out? Street Profits?
Oh, Montez Ford.
He's got good front splash, hasn't he?
The height that he gets off that turnbuckle is incredible. I don't know how he does it.
Super shoes.
Got springy legs.
Yeah, he was far higher than Superfly ever did.
Yeah, Superfly didn't really go all that. I mean, I'm sure for the time it was considered high, but he just kind of went forward, didn't he? And out.
Yeah, just jumping off the top turnbuckle,
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero did frog splashes.
Eddie Guerrero, yeah.
That's why he wasn't murdering his girlfriend.
Superfly.
Unconfirmed.
I think Sasha Banks, I don't know if she's related to Eddie Guerrero or whatever, I don't think so. But she likes him. And in WrestleMania 33 or something, she wears the same colours as Eddie Guerrero wore.
Oh, wow. I read that. Well, when I was reading up about Sasha, that he was one of the inspirations coming into wrestling.
I've seen it in my WWE book.
Oh, you're encyclopedia.
That was badly done there. So Nia Jax just supposedly was running towards Bayley, and Bayley barely moved. Nia Jax just went. Watch the replay here. Yeah, she just ran into the pod for no reason. And now she's gone to sleep. Bless her. She's tired. She's had a long day.
Is it just these two teams left in?
Well, I was literally about to say the same thing. I think it is, isn't it? I think it's just Nia Jax and Tamina versus the Boston Hood Connection.
I've just seen Sonya Deville over there. No, Sonya Deville.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the Boston Hug Connection as a team name?
Say again.
The Boston Hug Connection as a team name?
Bit lazy.
Yeah, I don't like it. My assumption is it's based off the Rock and Sock Connection, which was The Rock and Mick Foley with his Mr. Socko puppet. I think that worked quite nicely as a name. There we go. Pile up on Tamina. She's gone.
Yeah.
See you later, Tamina.
Yeah. So in the match, it was a tag team match. Shawn Michaels and Triple H against someone else. The opponent smashed Triple H's head in the turnbuckle, and he was stood up doing nothing, like trying to catch balance for 5 minutes straight without getting tapped, and then he fell over. Finally.
Wow. I've not seen that one. I'll have to have a look into that.
That's fun.
Right, so we've got left now. So we've got Sasha and Bayley, Sonya Deville, and
Iron Desire.
Fire Desire. I forgot that's what they were called.
Sonya Deville is WWE's first openly lesbian wrestler.
Yeah, I'd heard that. Yeah.
They're lesbian.
Yeah.
I think Sonya Deville has suffered greatly from Ronda Rousey coming in, because Sonya Deville's gimmick is that she's a bit of a shoot fighter. Yeah. And then a real world-class shoot fighter comes in, and I think it just kind of ruined it for her, because she either doesn't have the same level of legit skills, or definitely doesn't come across that she does.
Is Ronda Rousey still in UFC?
No, she left to, in theory, have a baby, but as far as I know, she's not had one, or not pregnant anyway. There is talk of building to Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey at next year's WrestleMania.
Yes.
Oh, what?
It'd have to be a fairly quick comeback from having baby for Becky Lynch, though, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out how far off it should be now.
Oh!
When was Money in the Bank?
Not far off. Ooh. But she vacated shortly after WrestleMania, so that's like 7 months ago now. She must be fairly close, presumably.
Well, it was Money in the Bank, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Money in the Bank, sorry.
What month was that?
Wait, what?
That May normally, is it Money in the Bank? So about 5 months ago?
Wait,
yeah.
Wait, what?
So she's probably due to have the baby, worst case, end of this year. Yeah, that would be a fast comeback for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I thought that was the finish there for the old backstabber and bank statement and all that sort of stuff. I just had a quick Google. Becky's due date is December 2020. So they've all been back on TV within a month or so and having a match about 3-4 months after having a baby, which seems a little bit quick.
I think Becky's last match was at WrestleMania against Shayna Baszler.
Of course, it had the match, didn't they? There, yeah. I remember.
Yes, that's right.
Fighting on top of the chambers now. So you've got Bayley climbing up into the same chamber that Sasha and Mandy Rose are already on. What are we going to do to her, do you reckon? Just throw her off, or suplex?
Yeah. Oh, suplex would be good. No, it's changing. Wait, I've seen this.
Over the years, there's been some big moves off the pods. The first Elimination Chamber match had Rob Van Dam do a frog splash off the pod onto Triple H, but he landed his leg across Triple H's throat, which meant his throat swelled and he could barely breathe for the rest of the match.
Right.
All right, Sonya's coming up as well now. Presumably something good's going to happen. I always get a little bit disappointed when they get, say, for example, on the top of a ladder or on top of a chamber or a cage, and then nothing happens and they just climb down again.
And then it comes of it,
Well,
that's like
in Hell in a Cell.
Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre.
I was expecting Randy Orton to powerbomb Drew McIntyre through the cell or something.
Did you see that, John?
Insane.
I didn't. No.
Went for this big whole thing of Randy Orton climbing to the top of the cell and then beckoning Drew to join him, which he eventually did. And then they kind of just had a little bit of a tussle and then just climbed back down again. It's just.
I thought it was going to be like Mankind versus Undertaker when Mankind went through it.
Yeah, that was it.
You know that wasn't actually supposed to happen.
Yeah, he told me that.
Yeah.
The second one supposedly wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah, and I don't know if 100% believe that, but that is what they say.
Yep.
Oh.
What's that called?
I don't know.
Oh.
Ooh. So when I watched, I only flicked through the Drew McIntyre Randy Orton Hell in a Cell match. And the one thing I thought was weird, when they were showing the replay of Drew's bump off the side of the cell, every single time they showed it, they start the replay where he's already halfway off the cell. They don't show what happens for him to do that. They show him with one foot still just touching the cell, halfway in midair.
Yeah, because I think the smack to get him off was a bit underwhelming.
Right, okay. Fair enough.
It was kind of they timed the replay well to not feature that.
John called it a bump.
Oh, what's happening now?
Yep.
Oh, miscommunication. A dysfunction at the junction, as they used to say.
Where's Bayley? Is she still up on top of the chamber?
Oh, maybe. Probably good.
Have you given us all your fun facts then, Lee? Is there anything more to tell us about these guys?
Tap.
Yeah, I think you've had a lot. Yes, you have.
You mentioned earlier about the Bayley Sasha Banks Hell in a Cell match from this weekend's Hell in a Cell. If you're looking for a quality match with those two involved, there we go. Match is over. Sonya's just tapped out to a modified bank statement, was that? It wasn't the normal one, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really good thingy submission.
Where's Bayley?
So Bayley versus Sasha Banks at one of the NXT takeover events. I think it was New Orleans. If you look on the network to find it, is considered by many to be probably the best women's North American match ever, and one of the best matches ever. Full stop.
Oh, have you seen it?
It's really good.
It was one of the very few matches I actually watched all the way through. Most matches I just kind of flicked through, but I remember watching that one because I heard it was good, and it definitely didn't disappoint.
I'll check it out.
You should.
All right, so Bayley and Sasha Banks, inaugural women's tag team champions.
Wow.
Wait, what does that mean? Ignore.
First.
First.
Yeah.
So I say that. I mean, the first ones in 30 years. They just kind of forgot about the jumping bomb angels and the glamour girls. Did anyone else hold the early version? I'm just going to have a quick look on the internet, see if I'm missing out anyone else from the early days. Where are we? WWF Women's Tag Team titles, originally held by Princess Victoria and Velvet McIntyre from 1983 to 84, then Desiree Peterson and Velvet McIntyre, then the Glamour Girls, the Jumping Bomb Angels, and then the Glamour Girls.
Wow.
McIntyre and Princess Victoria were the reigning NWA Women's Tag Team Champions upon the WWF's withdrawal from the NWA, and were recognised as the first WWF Women's Tag Team Champions. I don't know how often they were defended, to be honest, but...
No, you never saw them wrestling. It's generally, usually only in main events when you'd ever see them, really.
Yeah.
You never saw them on Superstars or Wrestling Challenge.
I personally prefer the 2020 Elimination Chamber for Women's.
Which one was that?
The one where Shayna Baszler destroys everyone.
Yeah, that was good. That was good as well. To be honest, this was good. I enjoyed this match. I mean, when we were looking for a women's tag title match, this is the one that came out as the most highly recommended one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because some of the women that featured in the one that you just mentioned, I will have had in other matches. Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm. How she gets Natalie's just smacks her head across.
Yeah. So we need to decide. I was thinking about this as well, John. We need to obviously decide what next week's match is.
Yeah. I've just opened up the list in front of me.
At some point as well, we should make a call on what we're going to class as the main event.
That's a great point. So realistically, the main event has probably got to be a title match.
Yes.
So the two men's title matches were Cena and CM Punk from Money in the Bank 2011, and was it Batista and Triple H from WrestleMania 21? Now, the funny thing with both of them, whilst they're good matches, neither of them feel like the biggest match in the card.
I know what you mean, yeah. It's because we use The Rock, obviously, and Hogan for their So I think in terms of the best match, you'd have to go CM Punk and Cena.
Yes, Punk and Cena probably on last. So we need a little bit of a gap from tag wrestling. So the men's tag titles, the TLC match from WrestleMania 17 probably needs to be in a few weeks. So singles match-wise, we've got Bret Hart versus Steve Austin submission match from WrestleMania 13. We've got the aforementioned Batista and Triple H match from WrestleMania 21. We've got the Intercontinental title match, Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage from WrestleMania 3. We've got Daniel Bryan and The Miz, US title match. And we've got your pick, Lee, the one that you insisted on having in. We've got the Ric Flair match, Money in the Bank from WrestleMania 22. And that's it. That's the ones we've definitely got in. There was talk of putting something in to get Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, etc. in. But they are the matches we've definitely got. So possibly either Daniel Bryan and The Miz, or maybe Bret Hart and Steve Austin.
Bret Hart.
I reckon we do Bret Hart and Steve Austin next.
Or do we perhaps get in one of the US or IC title matches so we can have a gap between them?
If we do Bret Hart next, will we then only have title matches left apart from that Money in the Bank one?
We've also got Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, which is non-title. But yeah, other than that, it would just be title matches.
No, WrestleMania 24.
Oh.
Possibly could do with getting a title match in next. Do you think either US or IC next?
Yeah, let's do the US one then.
So that was Daniel Bryan against The Miz from Night of Champions 2010. Again, a slightly potentially controversial choice. We were struggling with US title matches that didn't involve people who'd already got used, and we wanted to get Daniel Bryan in there. There's a lot of both backstory in the run into that match, but perhaps more so than that, another decade's worth of story afterwards to discuss.
Yeah. And The Miz is on the screen right now.
He is, yeah, funnily enough, yeah. Cool, right, guys. We hope you enjoyed episode 6 there. Our take on the women's elimination chamber match from 2019. Thank you to our special guest for the evening, Harry.
Thank you.
And nice one, guys. Hope you enjoyed that.